Right, so one of the components that you need to do epoxy work or fiberglass composite work for F1D is a temperature controller. Almost all of the epoxy systems require some sort of hardening afterwards. A post-cure cycle is what they call it. And what I have here is a very inexpensive option. This is something that comes prepackaged and there's not really a whole lot to build on it. This is a temperature controller by the name of Inkbird. I will put a link in the comments afterwards about where to get this, but basically I got it at Amazon. It's got 3 cords coming out of the bottom. One is to turn something on and off, which is just, a normal power type cord. Another one is a fairly long cord. It's about 6 feet long, and this just has a temperature gauge on it, or temperature sensor. And the last one is just a normal power cord to plug it in. When you are using this, it tends to, when you're using this, the temperatures range up to about 210 degrees is max that this particular controller can get to. And for the types of work that I do, this is fine. The epoxy systems that I use have a max temperature of 176 degrees Fahrenheit, and so it's fine. What I use for a actual temperature source is basically just a light bulb. This is an old ceramic fixture that was in our house at some point. I just grabbed an old no longer used extension cord, and you can just plug it in here, and this is enough power on this, depending on the wattage of the bulb. It's enough power to light up and heat up an enclosed space. In many cases, if you use something that's small, like this little old Coleman cooler here, this is actually fine for doing most small work. I have one. This is probably 25 or 30 years old. It doesn't fit on super tight, but it's still enough to get the parts in that you need from the outside. And then you can kind of close it up like that, and you know that it's working because when the light bulb lights up, this lights up. If you need larger spaces, you can use more than one light bulb. You can hook these up in a number of, more than one, or you can get a larger wattage bulb, usually 100-watt bulbs, incandescent bulbs. They're getting a little bit difficult to find now, but they're still around, and occasionally I've used fairly large boxes. Actually, about the size of this table was the largest one that I ever did. This is around 40 inches or so. I think probably 40 by, say, like 14 by 20 or 24. And that one, I could never get it quite up to 176. But what I use is I just put it on and use some adhesive tape on the top, and then covered it up in about 6 or 8 blankets, just fleece blankets. And it got up to like 150 or so. Anyway, this is all that's really required.